Hello guys, today I'm going to be making mushroom risotto with salt and pepper steak. So what I have here is 4 slices of beef bacon and I'm cutting it into little pieces. And then next I have 1 medium onion and cut that into littler pieces. And then I'm gonna saute or fry my bacon and saute it around in its own fat until it's halfway cooked, so and looking like this. And then I'm gonna drop the onions for it to fry in there as well. So once you drop the onions, we can do other things and just let it cook a little bit there. Let it reduce. So then I have washed my mushrooms and I'm gonna cut them into little pieces as well. And try to make them as even as possible so that they cook evenly as well. Yeah, so cut them up. And next is a really nice quality white cheddar. And this is important that you get a good quality one because it's just enhances the flavor so much. And that I can add at the end, just when the risotto is done already. Okay, so now for the cheese tower reveal, and it wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. Okay, so back to the beef bacon and onions. So next I'm adding about 3 cloves of garlic and I'm gonna saute them around until the garlic gets all aromatic, if you will. And you see that the bottom of the pan, how those little like almost burnt. Don't worry about that because once the mushroom is dropped, it's gonna release its water and it will deglaze the pan. So just drop all of the mushroom and it's gonna reduce. So just stir around and try to get those kind of like flavor at the bottom. You see how I'm like scraping at it? And then if you see here, the water from the mushroom deglazed the pan. So some people add water, but I don't. So this is all the water that the mushroom released. Okay, so once it's looking like this, you can set it aside. And I'm gonna use the same pan for the rice. So just set it aside and don't wash it because it has a lot of flavor. And what I'm using here is ghee butter. So I have maybe 1 tablespoon. And just like wait until it melts. And for the rice itself, I'm using Egyptian rice. I know people will use like arborio rice, I think that's how it's pronounced. But Egyptian, I think, works just as well. All we're looking for is the short grain little fat rice. So I'm sauteing it around and making sure that the oil coats all the little rice pieces. And in the other burner, what you don't see is I have chicken broth on low heat. It's like warm. And I'm gonna put 1 scoop at a time, or 1 or 2. Okay, so here's the process, all right? So you're gonna have to be patient for this. And it's gonna be so worth it, trust me. So you drop the chicken broth and you saute it around until the rice absorbs most of the chicken broth. Now you can't leave the rice and just leave it alone to do its own thing. You have to be there because otherwise it might stick to the pan. So just keep doing that until the rice is almost cooked. Keep in mind you don't want it to cook all the way because we still have water from the mushrooms. So just when it's still like giving you a little bit of resistance but not all the way cooked. So I'm gonna keep repeating this step until until the rice is almost cooked. Okay, so you see it's getting like creamier and creamier and it's just Smells so good right now. So, okay, so here I added fresh cracked black pepper. You have to add fresh cracked because the other stuff has no flavor and it's very disappointing to add the other stuff. Okay, and make sure the salt is okay. I didn't add extra salt because I have the chicken broth is already salty and the beef bacon as well. Okay, so here I dropped the mushroom with their water and everything, and I'm just gonna saute them around. Have the rice take all that delicious flavor, and I am gonna prepare my steak. Just leave it on low heat, and I have a really hot pan here. I added some grapeseed oil. And I've salted and peppered my steaks, and it's smoking in here. It was like I had to turn on the fan. Okay, and so I have really thin steak, so I don't really need to cook it that long. Maybe I think I did like 30 seconds on each side. So I have 4 pieces here, and I'm gonna drop them. Important is that you remember which piece you drop first, so that when you flip it, you can not like you can avoid under searing a piece or something. And I think I made a mistake and flipped the piece that I dropped last or something. Anyway, so you see how it's nicely seared, and what that does, it prevents the juices of the steak to escape. So just make sure that the pan is really hot. Okay. Okay, so back to the risotto, and it is smelling so good, and I tasted it and it just tastes amazing. The last step is adding that cheese just for extra creaminess and extra like gives it a little sweetness too. It's really really good. You have to try this. Okay, so I just dropped all the cheese in and just sauteed around until it gets melted. And yeah, it's just so delicious right now, and you have to try it. It smells so amazing. So let's get a close-up. Oh, it was so good. Oh, look at that. The rice is nice and still has its shape. Everything is so creamy and delicious. Okay, so time to plate. And oh my god, look at that. Doesn't that look sexy? Come on. And that piece was for me. So this is the finished product, and yeah, try it and let me know if you like it, and yeah, bon appetit.